Hey, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having
I
me.
think we've got a lot of interesting news. I think it's going to be, very, well received. Hell of a year, but a lot of good things are happening. And I think it's worth going over those things.
Definitely. What's up, everybody? I'm Brian from iWantTesla, and I'm so excited I got to go to the shareholder meeting. I'm actually here right now in the crowd. Well, there's no one here anymore. This is after the event, so I have some notes written down. It was exciting to see all this stuff. It was great to be invited to this. My notes are basically what we didn't know about Tesla before this event. Here we go. Obviously, you can watch the whole thing. I do recommend watching it. It's long. First thing, Model Y. I love talking about Model Y. I'm excited for the Model Y. One thing Elon said is it's 2.5 times bigger than the 3 on the interior. So there's a ton of space. That's what I remember, and that's what I got out of the Model Y event when Karen and I went out to the event. It's a lot bigger car. It felt wider to me. There was a lot more space in it, a lot more storage and things like that. So I'm excited for that car for sure. He did say fall of 2020 is volume production. What does volume production mean though? Volume production could mean 4,000-5,000 cars a week. I'm really hoping that he did say that he's trying to get it done earlier, but I'm really hoping that it's a lot sooner. I'm hoping that he starts delivering some of the cars by the end of this year. Just like the Model 3, it took a little while before they were able to get volume production with thousands of cars a week. So, I'm hoping they do the same thing. But the main surprising thing was they've tweaked the design so much, and these engineers are amazing. They might have the drag coefficient less than the 3 on the Y. That is going to help range for sure. Yes, it's going to be a little heavier car, but not by much, which actually might push the rear-wheel drive up to that 325-mile range. Just like Bob back at home. My Bobby might get the same kind of range, which is awesome. He talked a little bit about supercharging. One thing I noticed that he said that a lot of the spaces, this was during one of the questions, a lot of the spaces that they have for supercharging, they either get for free, they lease for free, or they get paid by the company. The electricity Tesla pays for, but the property they don't pay for typically. Some places they do. But later this year, and going into next year, they're going to enable the Model S and the Model X's, and as well the Model 3s, to accept high rate of charge. They're not supercharging, but some they're going to enable those with adapters, so you can actually charge public stations or things like that at a very high rate. And then a couple cool things coming down the road, the timeline of what's happening. He showed off the Cyberpunk truck. He laughed about that.
That's right, Cyberpunk truck. Yeah.
That is the front end of the truck line that comes across. That is the front. I'm not sure how. It doesn't look like a truck really, but he said the pickup truck unveiling will be later this summer. Hopefully by the end of summer, if not going into fall, but it is going to come up soon. They're going to show off the truck and show some of the features and possibly some ride and drives. Again, it will be at nighttime like always, so you don't get to see detailed pictures, unfortunately.
I think it's the coolest car I've ever seen, to be frank. I think not everyone may share that opinion, but worst case scenario, we'll build a normal looking truck. Yeah, no problem. We know what those look like. So this is something that'll, if you're driving it down a road, just look like it came out of a sci-fi movie. So it'll be really cool, I think.
All right, is everyone going to like that? Probably not. Are Tesla fans going to like it? Of course. So he said the Model Y in about a year from now. Looks like the semi is being pushed off to the end of next year. That's a bummer. It's all based because of the batteries. They're making more batteries than any other company or anybody in the world combined. Tesla's making more batteries than all of them combined. That's huge. That really is huge. Speaking of batteries, that was weird. As soon as I said speaking of batteries, my battery died in my camera. There's going to be a battery and powertrain day for investors. Later this year, hopefully by summer, but I doubt it because they're going to want to unveil the truck and then they're going to have this probably in fall. That's pretty cool, because here's what I think is really cool about this, because that's when they're going to announce the million-mile powertrain. Million-mile batteries, million-mile, say that 5 times fast. Million-mile powertrain. So the motors and the batteries will last 1,000,000 miles. That is huge. And I think that's when they're going to talk about the rear motor for the Model S and Model X. They tweaked it a little bit with the bearings for the Raven cars, where they put the new motor in the front. I think they're going to tweak the back motor for the Model S and the Model X, and possibly, this just popped into my little noggin there, possibly an actual performance Model 3 motor. What do you think about that? I'm just making shit up on the fly. And of course, that's when they're going to talk about the Maxwell batteries, along with the technology between that and the 2170 cells. They're going to merge those batteries together. I think that's what they're going to be doing. I'm hoping, and that's where we're going to see 400 miles. That 400 miles won't be out until probably next year in the Model S and the Model X. Those will be totally different when they refresh the car next year sometime, because they'll need to rework the whole car, and that'll be next year sometime. Another really cool thing that I've been waiting for, because I need to get rid of my crappy insurance, is Tesla insurance. Someone asked a question about it, and he said,
Pretty close to being able to release that. We have a small acquisition that we need to complete, a bit of software to write, but it won't be long before we release that.
So it looks like they need to buy a small company for this. They need to purchase something to make this possible and write some code for it. So this tells me that it is going to be Tesla insurance through Tesla. It's not going to be a Liberty Mutual partnership deal. It's going to be through Tesla. I may be wrong on this. Maybe an insurance guy can let us know in the comments down below. But I think that's what it's going to be. I'm excited for that. And then they talked about the satellites that SpaceX is putting up. Even though this is a Tesla event, they asked about satellites. And are those satellites are they going to be hooked to the car? And a lot of people thought they would be. Because right now it looks like they only need to launch 2 more batches of satellites to have coverage for the United States. He said that it's not going to work too well because the antenna for those satellite signals is like a medium-sized pizza, so that wouldn't look too good on a car. It's a totally different antenna. So that would be fine for the top of your house, the roof of your house. It would be fine for buildings and things like that, but it's not going to be great for a car. He said they're going to still stick with the cellular network. Another great thing, Elon must have watched my video about ride sharing.
What about an update for like rideshare? I guess so kind of practice a rideshare fleet with people, and then that would be good for figuring out things for the robotaxi fleet in the future. So I mean, this might make sense. I mean, we'll probably do something like this. Probably makes sense. Yeah, sort of a supervised robotaxi.
A ride-sharing network like Uber and Lyft, but with people instead of waiting for all the robo-taxis by themselves. I think this is a smart move. Smart move for people to get into Tesla, to start driving. I'll start driving for Tesla, and I think it's a smart move. I think it's really cool. I think he called it a supervised robo-taxi. That's kind of cool. The last thing that I have is I wrote down a couple things about full self-driving and the timeline of full self-driving. We all know what full self-driving is going to be, but someone asked a question, do you have some insight on full self-driving? Well, it's working on Elon's car right now, to a point. He said it can drive from his house to the office pretty good. He has to take over in certain intersections. It sounded like not every intersection, not the same intersection every time, or it has to take over a few times. And obviously they're testing it, so that's to be expected.
You'll still need to supervise the autonomy, but it should be able to go from your garage to your parking space at work without intervention. Then we'll obviously put on billions of miles of testing. I think probably sometime next year you'll be able to have the car be autonomous without supervision, and then sometime thereafter we'll be able to convince regulators that the autonomy is safe enough that the car could actually go around with no one in it.
It will be feature complete by the end of 2019, but you will have to supervise it through this year, and probably most of next year you'll have to supervise it. Once they get millions and millions of miles driven on that, which is not very hard to do because they have over 500,000 cars out, they will be able to have less supervision from you. So you'll still have to have your hand on the wheel this year, possibly next year sometime you won't need your hand on the wheel, maybe on the highways, or right now the hard part is finding curbs for the car, or the tricky part is finding curbs and where it can drive and where it can't drive, but where it can drive just in case. By 2021 they should have enough data, information really, and driving experience in the miles to have regulators say yes to it, and then that's when the robo-taxi can start. So 2021 is when the robo-taxis will be around. Hopefully by the end of this year, probably not by the end of this year, but hopefully by the end of this year, we'll have some supervised robo-taxis, and I'll be driving for Tesla. So it was great to be at this event. Put your questions down below, put your comments. If you haven't watched it, I do recommend watching it. You need some time to set some time aside, maybe tonight or tomorrow night or something. There's always good nuggets of information in there, but a lot is repeated. And that's why I wrote down some things that I didn't know, and if I didn't know them, you might not have known them. As always, stay awesome, stay positive, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. See ya. Elon must have watched my video.